So what is the definition of Rat Dota? Well, Rat Dota is a term used in the very popular MOBA game called Dota 2. It means that one of the teams, either Radiant or Dire, are pushing one or all of the lanes and damaging turrets or structures, but not committing to teamfights. How's it going, everybody? Jack here, back once again with a Dota video. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on Rat Dota with Nature's Prophet. Now, just to get things completely out of the way, this tutorial is not for anybody who is new to Dota 2 or even new to Nature's Prophet. If you are new to Nature's Prophet, then this is obviously still stay, because this is, I think, a good tutorial for him. But if you are new to Dota 2, I would just highly advise for you to watch videos to get the basics of Dota 2, because Nature's Prophet is not the easiest hero to play. Well, with that out of the way, let's move on to Nature's Prophet himself. Nature's Prophet, aka Furion, is a carry, jungler, pusher, escape, and a nuker. Now, his strength, agility, and intelligence gain is 19, 18, and 25, making this hero an intelligence hero, with a strength gain of 1.8, agility gain of 1.9, and intelligent gain of 2.9. So, let's get into playing this hero. So, the first thing that you want to do when getting ready to play Nature's Prophet is you need to make sure you have a control group set up for Nature's Prophet. Now, what I would recommend doing, if you do not have a control group for him already, before you decide to go into a game as Nature's Prophet, I would recommend going into a bots game, getting your E, spawning in spawning in your treants, and proceeding to make a control group. If you do not know how to make a control group, what you do is you highlight the units that you want to have a control group set, then you press Control, and then whatever button that control group is. The defaults, I do not know, I believe it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but go to your settings and find out which control group you want to have. So say you wanted it to be for button 1, you press Control 1, and next time you play him, in order to select all the treants, you press just the button 1. Same goes for any other hero. Another thing that you need to be aware of when playing Nature's Prophet is map awareness. Since Nature's Prophet is a split pusher, you need to make sure you know where everybody is on the map at all times. Hopefully you'll have a good support who will place wards so that it'll be easy for you, but if not, you'll just have to read the enemy's minds and push when you can see them all on the map, or say your team is in a team fight, make sure you're split pushing while the team fight is happening. But make sure that you check the enemies to make sure that they do not have teleportation scrolls. If they have TPs or boots of travel, you need to make sure that either they're off cooldown by just paying attention, or you just need to play extra safe yourself, because one of them could teleport in at any time. You also want to make sure if you're playing against any heroes such as Anti-Mage or Queen of Pain, you need to make sure that you are extra ready in case they decide to blink in and kill you. Now, if the enemy team chooses a Bounty Hunter, I would highly advise that you do not choose Nature's Prophet. The reason is that Bounty Hunter can go invisible, track you, and then will go up and attack you. When you activate your Shadow Blade, you will not be able to be invisible because you're obviously tracked. So I would definitely avoid using a Nature's Prophet if they have a Bounty Hunter. Also, if they have a Spirit Breaker, I would highly advise against this as well. Not quite as much, but just because Spirit Breaker can charge you at any time, making your split pushing a little less reliable than it could be. Now, the biggest thing with Nature's Prophet is you need to be able to find the right balance between being too aggressive and not being aggressive enough. Since you're going to be Rat Dota'ing, you need to make sure that you're aggressive enough to be able to actually have effect, but yet don't be so aggressive to the point where you're going to end up dying a lot and not getting much done. This just goes in with the map awareness and checking for teleportation scrolls and boots of travel. Now that we have the basics over with and how you play this hero, let's get into item progression and how you will play this hero early, mid, and late game. So, right when you spawn in, the first thing you're going to want to do is pick up a Glove of Haste, as you are going to be wanting to rush Handamitis as soon as possible. Some people aren't for this, but personally I think that Handamitis, while it does cost a lot in the beginning and it will seem like it's a lot of money early on, it will end up being worth it in the long run, because you'll notice you'll get your core items a lot faster than you would if you weren't. So, Glove of Haste to start off with, and then also buy 2 Clarities, because you're going to want to have those so you can pop your treants, activate your Clarity, and then have treants again. Now, this is very, very crucial when you first play him, is when the first time that you activate your treants to attack the creeps, you're going to want to have the treants attack the creeps, and then have you pop your clarity as soon as you like put your treants down. That way you will regenerate your mana while the first treants are attacking the creeps, the neutral creeps, and you will not get hit. And that also will let you be able to spawn in another set of treants because you will have enough mana. And then once your clarity runs out, you'll do the same with the next clarity, and that just lets you stay in the jungle a little bit longer without having to teleport back and refilling your mana. So a big tip that I have that I haven't really seen many people point out yet, but this is just something that I have found, and it's just a little something to make it a little bit more effective in jungle, is when you're on Radiant side, make sure on the easy camp, which is the camp that's like all alone by the Radiant bottom lane, you want to make sure that when you activate the treants, you activate it in between the two medium and hard camps and the easy camp. That way, when you want to go between medium camp and easy camp, or easy camp to hard camp, you can just leave that way instead of having to go around the trees. It'll just make it a lot more effective, and carries do this all the time with Quelling Blades, so why can't you with your treants? So by this point, you have probably farmed up enough to get your Hand of Midas. At this point, what you're going to want to do is purchase yourself your power treads. Now, since you are an intelligence hero, one would think to put your boots on intelligence, but for me, I prefer to have them on agility for the attack speed, and then when you need the mana to spawn in your treants, you obviously want to put them to intelligence so you can just get a little bit more mana to hopefully spawn those in. Now, by around 20 to I'd say 22 minutes, you're going to want to get yourself your Maelstrom. Now, Maelstrom is very important so you can attack the neutral camps faster, and you'll just have like an AoE sort of, so you can just farm more efficiently, because early game, the biggest thing you want is efficiency, because you want to just get as much farm as physically possible early game, so it'll carry you through the late game. Maelstrom will also allow you to attack your creeps faster, thus making you more effective at farming. Now, I would recommend getting the Glove of Haste first when purchasing your Maelstrom, just so you can have a little bit more of that attack speed early on. So at this point, you probably have your Hand of Midas, Power Treads, and your Maelstrom, as you should. And at this point, what you want to get is your Shadow Blade. This should be for around 25 minutes. Now, Shadow Blade is a core item on Furion because it'll allow you to split push and then use your Shadow Blade and then teleport out to avoid any detection. If your enemy is smart, like they were in the game that you were watching right now, they bought dust before I even used my Shadow Blade, and they were just thinking ahead. It caught me off guard and it got me killed. Shadow Blade is crucial. Now at this point in the game, the team is probably going to be getting mad at you because you're not doing anything for the team. Here you are in the jungle, farming, split pushing some while your team is dying, and they ask you, well, what are you doing? You're not doing anything to help out the team. And you'll probably hear responses just like this.
We're losing this, boys, we're losing this.
Yep, they'll be desperate. But little do they know that in the end, you're going to win them the game because you're going to rat Dodo and their mouths are going to be wide open while you win the game for them. At 35 minutes in, you're going to want to purchase your Aghanim Scepter. This will allow whenever you pop your ultimate, which should be all the time, when you pop your ultimate, it'll spawn in treants if the creep, neutral creep, or enemy creep, or hero is killed, thus making you spawn in a ton of treants. What you're going to want to do with these treants is, if you're really, really good at microing, which I for one am not, you're going to want to have these treants push up all 3 lanes. But what I do is I take all the treants and I just push one lane as hard as I can. And this will just send like 20 treants all just bum rushing a tower. And while yes, the enemies will probably kill the treants before they can do much damage to the tower, you'll notice around the map, if you're playing him right, that the lane will always be pushed up, making insane amounts of space for your hard carry. The trick to this is use your ultimate, and then whenever you have your control group, just spam that key, because more and more will be added to it as the creeps are killed. So if you say pop your ultimate, and then you press your control group and you see there's only like 2 treants, give it about 5 seconds and then press your control group again, and you'll see there'll probably be like 10 or 15 treants. You'll see on the bottom there will be 2 little boxes that'll show like there's a second page. If you have 2 or 3 boxes, that means you have a lot of treants, and that's really good. So at this point, like I said, the enemy team will be just hugging their towers, hugging their base, because they can't really escape without anything else. Your team will still be mad at you though, because they look at the scoreboard and they see you're going 0-2 and you aren't helping the team at all. But little do they know, you still have a few tricks up your sleeve. Now, since you're using your ags, you're going to be getting a lot of gold from killing all those creeps around the map and spawning in those treants. So at around 45 to 50 minutes, you're going to want to get Octarine Core. This will make it so that you can use your ultimate more often and more often, thus creating more space and more space for you to push towers and all that. A good trick that I would recommend you doing is have all your treants go in one lane, so it focuses all the enemy heroes to take them out, and then teleport into another game. Use your E, or your third ability, which is just your basic treants, and have you and those treants push out another lane. This is a little bit more microing, but this is something that you need to do. At around 55 minutes, you're going to be just swimming in gold, and you need to purchase yourself a Desolator. Now, you're going to want to sell either your Hand of Midas or Maelstrom. If you sell your Maelstrom, it'll make it so that the Desolator hits every time using minus armor, but if you sell your Hand of Midas, you can have both. I personally have sold my Maelstrom, I think more than the Hand of Midas, but I think it is a little bit more wiser to sell your Hand of Midas and keep the Maelstrom and Desolator. Silver Edge is a nice choice after this because you'll already have your Shadow Blade. If you get Silver Edge, you'll just add a little bit bonus damage, but that's totally up to you. An item also that is optional in luxury is to purchase some moon shards. This will allow you to push the tower a lot faster and just mow down creeps as much as possible. So now that I've said that, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, you've told me what to do, but you haven't told me how I actually do it. So I'm going to discuss this right now. When you're having your little treants push out a lane, what you're going to want to do is have them selected and click A and tap further down the lane than what they are. So say your top lane, your treants are top lane, and they're attacking creeps right at the corner. As soon as those creeps die, you're gonna want to A and then click like by the enemy tower way further down the lane. When you A click, it makes the enemies go to where you select it, but attack anything that gets in its way. So what that'll do is it'll have your treants move with your creep wave towards the tower, but they're going to interfere the enemy creeps, and when they interfere the enemy creeps, they're going to attack those creeps. This is huge, and this is a great trick to not having to micro quite as easily. You need to make sure that your team is getting into team fights. Like I said, they'll be mad at you that you're not helping them in team fights, but if they have 5 of them mid, you know you need to go all out and just go to the lane that's pushed out the most, and you need to go as far and as hard as you can. This is where I'm talking about checking the enemies for TP scrolls. If they don't have teleportation scrolls, and even if they do, go and push out the lane. It is crucial. You have a Shadow Blade, you can't escape. If you die, it's not that big of a deal because you will have had, pushed down one of their towers, 2 of their towers. And at the end of the game, I guarantee it, you'll still be going like 0-2, 1-2, but you will have pushed down the entire barracks, you have pushed down all their tier 4s, and your team will no longer be complaining at you for not doing anything. They probably won't say good job because they don't want to admit that they're wrong, but deep down they know that they were wrong. After this, it's pretty much victory from there on out. You just need to make sure you're pushing the lanes and creating space as much as possible. The enemy team won't have enough time to farm, and if they do want to do a 5-man push mid, they're going to end up sacrificing a tower or even barracks for it. So what this is meaning is if you have a Nature's Prophet on your team who is good, you can never do a 5-man team fight really ever unless you have the wave ultra pushed up, which is really hard once you have your Ags on Nature's Prophet and Octarine Core. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. This was a lot of fun to make. It is a lot of fun playing Nature's Prophet. I've played him quite a bit lately, and he is definitely one of my most favorite heroes. Hope you guys learned from this, and hopefully you'll be able to rat Dodo because rat Dodo is amazing. Hope you all have an awesome 2016, and I'll see you guys. Peace out.
Now that was a failed bow.
Radiant victory.